Yeah, I'm recording it. So if someone is missing, no worries. We'll share the recording. And if anyone's internet is dropping or making any trouble, so I think there will be no problem. So no more introduction here. Moving on, I'll just introduce a bit about session plan. So first we'll talk in the first session, we'll be talking about introduction to systematic review. So why do we need a systematic review, or why should we conduct a systematic review, and how it's going to help us? And then we'll know about different types of reviews: narrative review, scoping review, rapid review, systematic review, and a lot of other review. And then we'll know brief difference between reviews we will be using, or we use usually for evidence-based like medicine or in other discipline also. And then what are the steps in systematic review? And then we'll be talking about how to develop a systematic review research question. So basically the PICO, and then what are the other alternatives for that. So and then we'll be talking very briefly how to use existing systematic reviews for formulating systematic review question or to update it. And then how can you develop and register your systematic review protocol, because this is one of the preconditions to get published in a really good journal, and as well as to maintain standard systematic review procedures. So that's why registration of systematic review protocol like randomized control trial is really important. And then we'll be talking about a search strategy using different databases, and also from search strategy to data extraction for analyzing, or like doing synthesis or maybe meta-analysis. So from search strategy to data extraction, the whole process will be described and discussed. And then in the second session, it will be applied. How can you do this manually, and as well as using some available software, or I'll say like automatic tool, and how can you manage your references and the studies you retrieve searching in different databases. So we'll be talking about this in the second session. And then our third session plan is all about meta-analysis and meta-synthesis. So you'll be basically know what's the difference between meta-synthesis and meta-analysis, and when we... Can you hear me?
Again, you dropped and now now you are back, but
yeah. So at the third session, we'll be talking about more about meta-analysis, as we already done, like how to search, how to retrieve required studies, and how can we select studies for our research or for our systematic review. And then if, yes, can you hear me?
Can you share your slide?
Oh, it's not shared, right? Sorry. Okay, so it doesn't go automatic. Razia, it's clear?
Yeah, now
okay.
we can.
Great. Okay. So now if we know that we can do a meta-analysis with our systematic review, because it's not always necessary to do meta-analysis, and it's not always feasible also, and it's not possible always if we are doing systematic review. So that's why you see it's a systematic review and meta-analysis. So this part will be a whole lot of about meta-analysis and how can you do this in using available software. So we'll be practicing or apply in Getstata software here. And then also when we are not doing meta-analysis, we'll be doing meta-synthesis. And also for qualitative research, we do some kind of synthesis, and that's what also will be discussed here. So after the statistical application, we'll also show two different applications, one for observational studies, another one for randomized control trials. And then we'll know how can you assess the quality, or like also risk of bias of the studies you have included and the systematic review and meta-analysis you have conducted. And later on, we'll be talking about when you are done with your systematic review and meta-analysis process, how can you start preparing your manuscript to get published in your desired journal. And that's all our session plan for today. So moving on in our session 1, so it's about introduction to systematic review. We three will be talking. So Razia, you can start with this one. Yeah. So we all three will be talking in each session. Okay, so it will be kind of overlap of our resource persons.
All right.
Yeah,
So
Razia,
systematic review, what? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So before I tell what my systematic review is, I want to know from the audience, what comes in your mind when you hear the word systematic reviews?
Thank you.
If you want to answer, raise your hand so that we can be more organized. Yes, Anam, go ahead.
In my opinion, the systematic review is reviewing the existing scientific evidence systematically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, systematic is really the key word here. Thank you, Anam. And we have a response in chat that review by maintaining a structured approach. Yes, that's exactly the key that you're highlighting. So systematic is something that is systematic, that is methodological. So that's what systematic means. And the other part is review. So a review, when we do any kind of review, like a book review or anything, what we do is we critically appraise what was there. So a systematic review is not complete unless you critically appraise the studies that you included in the systematic review. So it's a methodological process where you synthesize the evidence very systematically and appraise what has been published. So, and then it collates all the evidence to answer any specific question. Joel, can you go ahead? What eligible criteria current knowledge. It has an explicit and reproducible methodology. This is one of the very I hear some voice in the background. So if everyone mute, right, so it produces this literature review. We do not have not necessary to have a reproducible methodology. You cannot replicate the process that has done systematic. So what we synthesize should give us the complete answer, the comprehensive answer. So it needs to know the findings of the research studies, and it has a systematic presentation, synthesis, and characteristics.
Razia, can you hear me?
I think the host.
So I think Joel, again, we have lost Joel. So maybe I can move ahead.
I think Joel is there. He just needs to share his screen.
All right. Okay.
I think you can share, Razia.
Okay, Razia, did you drop? Razia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm here. I
I
think
think problem from your side, yeah. Razia is back.
can you
Okay, now.
about reproducibility. So what systematic review has is a comprehensive strategy, search strategy. So this strategy, if we're using it now, it is supposed to be reproducible. So even if I am conducting a systematic review now, and if I reproduce that strategy 2 years down the line, definitely will have more studies. But if we say that to just have studies until 2022, so we should have a methodology. It's just so defined that if you follow each and every step, you're supposed to get the same result. So this is very important when you're conducting a systematic review, that whatever you're doing should be so robust that if you have conducted a systematic review and I see your methodology and I want to reproduce exactly the same thing, I should be able to do that following your strategy. So this is how a systematic review, so this is what reproducibility means.
Razia,
Question?
I have shared the slides with you, so you can, I think you and or Dr. Rakib can share. That will be better. Yeah, the updated one on your WhatsApp. Rakib bhai, you have also the updated one. And I'm making you, Razia, I'm making you, you or Rakib, I'm making.
Can you please send an email for sub
Yeah.
account?
Yeah. Okay, and I have also make you host. So I think is there any problem in my end, you both can continue.
Okay. Let me just share it. Sorry for all the interruption with technology. These things are just